Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be walking you through how to upload data, assets, images in an AWS S3 bucket. And I'm going to be doing this practically using Node.js and Express application. Now, this video is aimed at giving you a detailed explanation and steps on how to programmatically upload your images when you're building a backend or a server, or you're building a web application that warrants you handling images, files, and all of that within your application. That's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. So without further ado, let's go straight into the practical aspect of the video. So right now we've got a very simple Node.js application which I just created. Right now the application does nothing. This is just a Node.js Express server currently running on port 6800 or 6800. And this is the application where we're going to be doing the upload of files and medias to the S3 buckets. Now the next thing I want to do from here is basically just to create a route, a folder called routes, and also create one more folder called the controller. Now inside of the route, I'm just going to create and upload the JS file and also do the same thing. Sorry, the controller has to be a double L. And here I'm also going to create an upload.js file. That's the first step. Now the second step from here is we would have to create to install the AWS SDK, which allows us to initialize the AWS instance and use the S3 methods inside of it. So I'm going to stop the server and run an npm install AWS-SDK. Now, while that is going on, inside of the controllers, the first thing I want to do is create a function called upload to S3. Now, inside of this function is where we have our upload. Now, before we go ahead and do this, inside of here, I'm just going to require AWS from the package which we've just installed, and I would have aws.config.update and pass the parameters. The first one is the access key ID. The second one is the secret key. That's a secret access key. And the final one is the region. So for my region and my secret key and my access key, all of that will be placed inside of my env file, and I'm going to place that inside of my env file. I already have that, so I'm just going to copy and paste it inside of my env file. So let me get that copied, and we have it here. So I'll save that, go back here, and all I need to do is just call the process.env.awx access key ID. The second one was access key, which is a secret key. So I'm going to copy this, replace it here. And this one is called AWS secret access key. And finally, the last one is just AWS region. Now we have this. So the next thing I want to do is create the S3 instance, and I'm just going to have aws.s3 so we can be able to use that. Now moving forward, sorry, this is S3 as in capital. Yeah. So now moving forward, inside of the function upload to S3, I'm going to be accepting a parameter, and the parameter I'm accepting is the file, which is the file we want to upload. Now inside of here, we're going to have a try catch, and if there's an error, we just want to return null, because if there is no error, we need to return the URL of the location where that image or that file was uploaded. So if there's an error, we return null. But if there's no error, we go ahead to create an object params. And first thing we want to pass is we want to pass the bucket I'm going to put the name of my bucket there. You also should have the name of your own bucket. I'm going to pass the file.original name. And finally, I'm going to pass the body, which is file.buffer. I'll show you all of that. So we have this. Now, these are the three things we're going to be submitting. The file.original name, which is the original name of the file. The body, which is the file.buffer, which is the content of that particular file which you're trying to upload. Now, the next thing I'll do from here is const data equals await s3 dot upload. Then I'm going to pass in params and I'll call the promise. So this is promise. So now we have await s3 dot upload params dot promise, and we just want to return data dot location. So now I'll create the controller. So upload file to s3. This is our controller, and inside of here where we have the controller, I'm just going to have if, okay, let me put a try catch. If there's an error, for now, let's just return a status code of 500. Now, the next thing we want to do is we check if there is request.file, which means if there is a file, then let's make this if there is no file, then we return a message saying no file uploaded. So that's the first thing we want to check for. Now, if there is a file, we just go ahead to pass the file into the upload file to S3. That's the function we created, upload to S3. And we pass in request.file inside of there. And finally, we just have response.status 200.json, then the results. So save this, and we need to export this controller. So when we export the controller, we get upload file to S3, which we're exporting here. Now, the next thing, we go inside our routes, we create a new route. We'll call the controller, and we'll call the upload function. And inside here, we call the upload file to S3. Then we create a router instance. Then finally, we module.export router. So here we have router.post upload file. Then we'll have upload file to S3. Now, this is the first part. The next part we want to do is we want to install the Malta package, which allows us to, process uploads in our Node.js application. So now we're installing Malta. And once we're done installing Malta, what we need to do is require Malta here. So we're just going to have it like const Malta equals to require Malta. And the next thing we have here is create the upload instance for the Malta. If you're conversant with the Malta package, you should know that when you install Malta in your Node.js application, the next thing you would want to do is create the Malta instance, which has the file checks like the file location, the storage size, the file type. But in our own case, we just want to initialize that and just basically pass this into here by saying upload.single file. So now, if you look at this, you would see that we've initialized the application, we've created a function which automatically helps us to upload the information. We've downloaded the AWS SDK, we've initialized it here, and we basically call that function inside of this controller, which is the upload to S3 and we're passing the file inside of it, right? Now, the next thing we want to do here is we've basically installed Malta, we've required the Malta package, and we've created an instance of the upload. And we're basically telling this route that for any upload that goes on here, it has to be a single file. If you want to make it a double file or more than one file, you use the upload.array. But for the sake of this particular tutorial, we're going to be using upload.single, which basically means we're uploading a single file. Now, the last step would be to require routes inside of the index. So we just want to do something like this, where we just have const routes equals to require routes, and here we just want to use app.use API routes. So now the next thing we want to do from here is to basically try out what we've done so far, and basically just for us to get this up and running, I'm just going to require express.json because we need to make sure this is a JSON. We would also require CORS so that we don't have any issues with the CORS. And also do app.use. We're going to be using CORS. Then the final thing would be app.use express.url encoded. We'll pass the extended value. And yeah, that's basically that. So now let's restart the application and see what the result would be when we try to upload, a document or an image. So now I'm going to start the application, nodemon index. So it says crashed, and that's coming from here. So we're having an error that says AWS or util.error. Let me go into the controllers. Oh, okay, this is supposed to be new. That was a mistake from my end. So that is new. Yeah, I think our application is running now. So we're going to go into local 6800 slash upload, which is the route upload file. And we're going to select the file to upload. So here, I'm just going to have HTTP localhost 6800 slash API slash upload file. This is a post request, and we're basically passing a form data, and we're calling this file, and we're selecting, let me just select the file. So I'm going to select this image inside of here, and if we run this, let's see what the result would be. If we get an error, we'll see an error, but if we don't, then we should be seeing the results coming from the upload. So this is 200. It says okay, but we don't get to see anything. So let me check here and see if there's a mistake somewhere. Data.location. I think it's the capital L. Yeah, capital L, not small l. So let's try this again and see, because it says 200. So let's see if it works now. Okay, so now we're getting the URL, and if we copy the URL and try to put it in our browser and just see if it shows up. Okay, so this is the image we've just uploaded. You can see that this is the image we've just uploaded. If we try with a different image, so let's try a different image just to be very sure. I'm going to upload this image. Let me remove the first one, uploading this image, and if we send it you can see we're getting a new URL, and if you check that, you would see that's the image we've just uploaded. So that's basically all I regard you setting up AWS in Node.js and using the S3 bucket to upload your file. You can see it's pretty straightforward. All we've just done is we've just created a particular application, a node application. We installed the AWS SDK. We've created our access key, secret key, and the region. We've passed the bucket name. We've also created an instance of the AW3 S3 bucket, and we basically just call the s3.upload and pass the params, which is these params which we've created here, and return the location of that particular image or that file that we've just uploaded. Yeah, so that's basically what I intend showing you in this particular tutorial. If you find this helpful, kindly drop a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and share across with other people. That's the most important part of it. And yeah, that's basically it. You can drop your comments. If you have any question, you can go ahead and drop it, and I will see you in the next video.